morning, good morning. It is Tuesday. Feeling better than I was yesterday. Yesterday was a little rough. Didn't have any sort of decongestant, but got some today, so I'm feeling better. I'm going to be working on shoulders today. It is Tuesday, so yeah, shoulders. Um, let's see, blowing this intro, but I'm Tim. And this is a stream of my workouts, doing a body transformation this year. The thing that sets my body transformation apart from others is that I'm not using any sort of supplements. So that's no, protein shakes, protein powders, no creatine, no BCAAs, no, nothing extra. No pre-workouts. Just trying to get all my nutrients from the food that I eat. I'm not opposed to supplements. I think if you want to take them, great. I've taken them in the past. I've had good results with them. I just don't know if it's absolutely necessary for me to take the protein supplements, the different supplements, in order to hit my current workout goals. So just taking a year to see how it goes. Secondary reason is that when my kids start preschool, and preschool is expensive, cutting out supplements saves me at least $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year. And in this economy, every little bit helps. I actually haven't bought supplements in so long that I would, from everything that I know about the price of groceries going up, I would bet you I'm saving, you know, not just 100, but at least 120 a month. So just more and more savings. All right, going to be starting out with some lateral raises, doing the warm ups with the 10 pounds. Make sure everything is working. Really, lateral raises are not my favorite exercise just because of how hard they can be compared to everything else. I feel like lateral raises are definitely not as easy as doing bench press or bicep curls or shoulder presses. But I think they're definitely a good exercise to do. Just so much harder. Like I always have to do such a lower, a lot lower weight than any other part of my body. Just from an aesthetics point of view, I think shoulders are a good thing to train because they are the easiest to like show up constantly as as looking big. Like if you really want to show off the size of your biceps, you have to do some sort of flex. Either you have to stand there with your arms crossed or put your arms up in the air or something to show that you've got big biceps. But big shoulders, just show up on their own. Like someone's getting their car towed outside. That sucks. Alright, going to move from 10 pounds to 25 pounds. 25 pounds is 11.34 kilograms. Pretty excited about moving to 11.34 kilograms, 25 pounds. When I was just doing sets of 10, I had been working on doing 30-pound lateral raises, and then increasing the sets of 15. Was only able to do the 20 pounds for the sets of 15, but I have managed to work my way up into being able to do the 25 pounds. So that's what I'm working on now, is 25-pound lateral raises. We'll just keep going. Oh, man. Talking about being sick sucks. Unfortunately, it's not just being sick. one of my kids gave me a good run for my money during the night. Just would not sleep. Took them forever to go to sleep. And that was partly like my bad for like I took a nap at one point later in the day, just trying to get my head clear. So my kid took a nap and they slept for so long that by the time I woke up, they weren't like really ready to go to sleep till like 12 o'clock. And even though I put them in bed like around like 10:30 and tried to get them to go to sleep, they were still like tossing and turning and wanted to be crazy till like 12 o'clock. I think the last time I looked at the clock, it was like 12:05. And they were just filled with energy. All right. All right. Well, in the spirit of not quitting, I'm trying not to give myself too much of an excuse for being sick. Able to was able to knock out 2 more reps over last week. Not a huge improvement, but still an improvement. I'll take it. Man, I tell you, it's been a crazy last like 3 days. At least, politics wise, news wise. I'm constantly amazed by people's ability to not take time to think. And I feel like unfortunately we have like a culture where people are just really quick. Like I think it has to do with social media, everybody being involved in media. So it's no longer just the news making opinionated statements, but people just jump in with their opinions who shouldn't, or who should take more time to think clearly about what they're saying. I think it's okay. Like, I think it'd be absolutely okay for politicians and the media to just state facts for a while. And people were like, well, what happened? Just state the facts. You don't need to come up with theories and explanations. Just stick to the facts. It's amazing that as a culture across the world, we just have so many proverbs and stuff that talk about, thinking and taking time to think. And if you're a fool, like keeping your mouth shut so you don't have to share that with the whole world. And just all these concepts about it, and people just can't seem to take it to heart. And it's from all sides. Like, it's not just one group of people on one side of the Nile. So many people. And it's funny right now, like obviously talking about the shooter, people want to uncover his motivations as quickly as possible and be able to say, look, that's why he did it, and there are the people that are responsible for him developing into that kind of person that would do that act. And I think it's crazy because you're trying to summarize, in this guy's case, 20 years of life into a headline and then a paragraph. And then everybody will jump in and blame everyone else for how this person got there. And I think, it takes 20 years to develop Thank you, Dixie Vixie. That's me. My mic died again. I think I need to make sure I'm charging the right one. I have two mics. And I think I got the one, grabbed the wrong one this morning. I'm all right. I'm a little sick, a little tired. Been been dealing with this like head cold for the last 4 days now. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm sick. And then one of my kids kept me up late. Is it from ACS? ACs? No, no. Not really. I don't. I typically I only use my AC. Um, Probably only use my AC for like 3 to maybe 4 hours a day, and then I shut it off. Um, and usually I use my AC between like 3 or like 2 p.m. to like 6 typically. And I only use it for that period because that's when my kids are asleep, like when they take a nap. So if my kids go down for a nap, I'll turn on the AC because I'll have the window in their room shut and their rooms will get hot. So I'll turn on the AC when they go for a nap, and then usually shut it off when I start cooking dinner and stuff. Open up the windows. I'm very fortunate to have like a good airflow around my house, so that's nice. Usually get a fair amount of wind, and then a couple of times when it's been like really hot in the summer, this summer, like if it's like in the 90s or something and it's not cooling off at night, I'll run it, but just like I'll have it like cool the house down to a reasonable. So it's like less than 77 degrees in my kids' rooms. So 77 degrees in Fahrenheit is like I don't know 26 degrees or something Celsius. I like I like to be cool enough for them to fall asleep comfortably. Because if your kids try to go to sleep and it's hot, they're gonna be rolling around and bothering you more. You can drop that temperature some. It helps them go to sleep. What's up, Copa? How you doing, man? I can bear the heat a lot more than like my kids and my wife, though. Sometimes that's not good. I have to check in with my kids to see how they're doing sometimes because if I'm home, I usually am only wearing like shorts. I hate wearing clothes. Um, so being that I'm dressed in only shorts, like I'm a lot cooler than everyone else. So you have to like check in with them and see how they're doing. But the heat doesn't bother me as much. Nor does the cold. I think because I've lived in um places where it's been cold and lived in places where it gets really hot. And just kind of gotten used to ignoring the temperature. And you just reach a point where you just don't care what the temperature is as much, as long as you have the right amount of clothes on. Dixie says, I hate when it's hot. It's 30, 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. It's enough. Yeah. Well, I think too, it also depends. Like, 86 degrees with no wind sucks. But at 86 degrees and, you know, like eight thanks Copa 86 degrees with a nice wind isn't so bad. But I think having like the right kind of clothes on helps too. What's up, Tomo Fit? I love your name, Tomo. Whenever I see it, I always like mentally go like Tomo. It's a very, very cool name. It's the Tomo. Well, you live in Europe, right, Dixie Vixie? Like, isn't like a lot of places in Europe kind of cracking down on the idea of AC? You're getting jealous, Copa. So I was reading some article or saw a news blip about the um the Olympic Village in Paris. People are upset because they aren't putting ACs in in the buildings. I guess you guys have some sort of different system than AC that's supposed to be cooling, but maybe it's not as cool. So like I guess the American team is bringing their own ACs, and other countries are bringing their own ACs. Dixie Vic says ACs are not very popular here. You just burn, haha, or use fans, unless uh, private house. Are you saying private houses? I know the first like major city I spent a lot of time walking around in with like a lot of ACs is Hong Kong, and in Hong Kong they have all the like what we call swamp coolers, or their window units. It's the you have it just sticking out of your window, and when you walk down the street in Hong Kong, you constantly get like ACs dripping coolant on you, or um, water's dripping down from different people's AC units. You'll think it's like raining, and you're like, "Is that rain?" You look up, and it's just someone's AC units just drip liquid on you. At least you're hoping it's just the AC unit. But Hong Kong is hot and humid. Yeah, humidity does suck. Gobo says hot plus humidity is horrible. Also, imagine I will say though, when you live in humidity for a while, um, it's not as bad. The one thing that sucks. So I lived in Hainan, which is very humid. It's an island in China, and I moved from there when I came back to the States to a desert, which was hot, but it wasn't humid. So my nose would get like a lot of like cracking, and I'd get like bloody noses a lot because of the air difference, the dry heat versus the humidity. And made me miss the humidity. Because humidity does feel better when you're breathing. And I don't know if this is the case in Europe, but in China, one of the things that would suck is um, people go to the bathroom a lot outside. Like you never like lean up against the wall in China because it's probably been spit on a lot or been peed on. And where we were at in Hainan, if it hasn't rained for a while and that first rain comes, the whole city smells like pee. And then the humidity hits like right after it rains, it'll still be like 100 plus degrees. So all that rain automatically just turns into a sauna. And like the humidity skyrockets. And you're just walking around just smelling urine everywhere. And you know it's like getting into your clothes and on your feet and stuff. And that's the one thing too, is that you because of that and the amount of like just stuff that's on the ground where we're at, you still wear shoes when it's hot, because if you wear like sandals outside, you can get like hookworm really easily, or other types of like sicknesses will get into you through your feet. So you have to be out there wearing shoes and socks all the time. And the smell is just awful. But it's not like that all the time because it rains pretty consistently. So um, it's not always like that. Copa says, yes, you can easily be sick. And it's just a different culture. It took a while to be used to. There's like a crazy thing that's happened in the US though. So I moved to China in 2000, and one. And when we got there, there were two things that were like different. As one, all of our phones were tapped. Um, like the police would listen to your phone calls. The police would, like, if you mailed something, you knew the police were looking at it. If you got a package, you know the police looked at it. Um, Surveillance was like a constant. So you got spied on. It's just what it was. But you had this idea that when you came home in the United States, wasn't like that. But then, after being home for a while back in the States, Edward Snowden came out with his information. You're like, oh no, like the whole time I thought it was just the Chinese spying. It was the US government was spying too. And then the other one was people going to the bathroom outside, and you had to watch out that you didn't step in like human feces when you were walking around. That was something that I'd only experienced in China. But since being back in the US, like the last few years, that's just become like commonplace in a lot of our major cities again, which it wasn't like when I was a kid. But in like places like San Francisco, even where I live, LA, New York, it's just commonplace again that you have to watch out for stepping in human poop, which wasn't a thing. And it's crazy how fast we can regress in the US. What Dixie Vixie, what do you guys use for heat when you're is it all gas, or do you guys use like burning wood as well still? I live in an apartment, so it's central heating from the city. Dixie Vixie blows on me, and I do the same. That's funny. We still have we primarily it's gas heating here, but we don't get that cold where I'm at. And there's wood burning is becoming more and more regulated to get less of it. They want to make it in California to where everything goes electric, to where you'll have no more like gas. So like my house, I have a furnace, um, and by the time my furnace dies, because my furnace should last for at least 10 years without any problems. But when the furnace dies, according to regulations, by the time that goes out, I'll have to pay for my house to be converted to all electricity. Um, the regulations for um, having no more gas furnaces like kick in like 6 years or so, or you can't buy any more gas furnaces in like 6 years. Koba says electricity is expensive. 6060 says, I hope it doesn't die out soon. Koba says, yeah. Yeah, there's some places, um, like my mother-in-law's house, they burn wood and their house gets cold. And because of they're on a mountain and because you have to, you can't get you can get stranded, like it's possible for them to not be able to get any gas in. They have a propane tank. Actually, I don't even think they have any gas. I think it's just electric. So if the electric goes off, they don't have any form of heating anything except for their wood fire stove. So they need that. But they want to make it in California, they're making it against the law to have any new wood fire stoves. But if you're living somewhere like in the mountains, you need a wood fire stove because you don't know if you're always going to have access to electricity or gas. So I don't think in the mountains wood fire stoves can ever like go away. But we're having problems in California with electricity. The the governor wants to outlaw all like electric or gas cars. I think by 2030, you're not. They want to make it so you're not buying any more gas cars in California. But currently, our grid can't support um, electric cars. Like there last summer, there were days where they were asking people not to charge their cars, and that's when the whole population of California is not using an electric car. But if we all switched to electric, the grid couldn't support it. So, and if you live where it's hot and you're old, like if your AC goes out, you're in trouble. And we've had problems with that. Dixie Fix It says, "Oh yeah, that's very dangerous." Yeah, because we do like rolling blackouts in California, and even when I was a kid, um, there were rolling blackouts that like started. See, I don't think I was a kid. It was like 2000. It was in the 2000s. In the 2000s, we were doing like regular rolling blackouts, and that was before electric cars were a thing. And our grid has actually gotten worse because um, we killed a lot of our nuclear power plants. And the nuclear power plants were producing a lot of electricity. So they got rid of those, and that caused a huge deficit, from my understanding. I think part of our problem, one of the things I think that we do in California that's dumb, is we have a large population in an area like LA that's a desert. It doesn't have enough water to sustain that population. It's hot, so it takes a lot of power to keep them cool. And I think they have like 9 million people in that county. And it's just a bad situation waiting to happen. Like if water just cut off for a week or so, like if there was a problem, the water couldn't get to LA, it'd be really bad fast for those people. If electricity cuts off in the middle of the summer and was down, it would be really bad for them as well. And I think it's frustrating living in Northern California because we send a lot of water down to LA, and when you look, and they've got this like lush, beautiful golf course in the middle of the desert, and you hear people talking about, oh, we have, a water shortage. It's like, well, maybe we don't need to have golf courses in the middle of the desert. Just the thought, you know, feels very, very wasteful to have giant golf courses in the middle of the desert, in my mind. But it's not even just here. Like if you look at Hawaii, like, and the fires that were there was like discussion about how much water they were going to allow to go to putting out the fire because they also needed that water for golf courses. And it's like the insanity of it all. Maybe if I played golf, I'd feel different about it, but I just don't. I don't like it. I think it's a huge waste of money, or not money, but resources. There was a comedian way back in the day that had this joke about he wasn't going to send money to people that were starving anymore for food. He would send money for moving vans and would help them move to where the food was. That was his whole bit. It's like if you're somewhere where there's no food, just move to where the food is. Stop trying to live in a desert. And that's what I would say to LA. Stop stop living in the desert. Go to where there's water. Go to where there's good land. If you really like golf that much, move to like Northern California where it's not so difficult to have a beautiful golf course. To be fair, I'm also just not a big fan of major cities. Whether it's like LA, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, New York. I think major cities has an issue with mental health. I don't think it's good to live that stacked up on each other. I got one more set. I think it's especially true. Like if you took a zoo with animals, like take a group of monkeys and you put them in housing in a ratio of how humans live in cities, you'd feel really, really bad for the monkeys. And, and you'd be like, that's not fair. Like that's crazy. Don't do that. And yeah, we do it to ourselves. Dixie Vixie says, sadly, it will only get worse. Maybe. I mean, I think yes, it's possible to get worse. I also think it's possible that it could get better. Um, I know there are a lot of really smart people that are trying to advocate for people moving out of cities and living in, better environments. And it doesn't even have to be a huge change. Like, having open air around you is enough. And we can spread out. We've condensed ourselves in the cities, but it's not absolutely necessary for us to live that way. I think it's possible for our problems to only get worse, but also I think it's possible for us to get better again. I think I think we do this thing where our society does good for a while, like across the board, across the world, not just U.S. but just across the world. Society goes on upward trend, and then it starts to dip, and things get bad, and then we pull it together and we go up a little bit higher. We've never really done this thing where like our society reaches a plateau and then we've crashed as a society and we've gone down to the depths of hell and we've never gotten better. And we go down, but then we get better, and when we get better, we always seem to pass that last point, you know. And I think we can keep that going. I think right now we feel like we're in a slump, and like there's parties that will tell us like, oh, like it's all going to hell and people suck, and they really get off on that because it gives them more control. But I think in reality, it doesn't have to be that way. And we fall into this illusion of like not appreciating what we have, over demanding, and our expectations get worse. Or our expectation doesn't meet the outcome, and so we get more and more depressed. And if we just get satisfied with what we got, it'll be easier. Dixie Vixie says yes. People need to learn how to appreciate what they have. Yeah. Um, I don't. Every culture is different, but one thing I try to do, and I don't know how it would go in your culture, so but maybe there's an alternative way that you can do it. But I try to give compliments to people. I try to notice things about people and let them know, like, if it's an older lady and she's gotten a haircut, looking at and not lying, but like if it's a nice haircut, like making sure to say, hey, it's a really nice haircut, you know, and watching their reaction. Um, my favorite, because it's funny, is telling people that like work out. Like if you see someone, you can tell that they're like have worked out and they're trying to get in better shape. Like making sure like you notice them and like like be like, dude, like you're looking ripped, man. Like something. I'm not talking about like when you're at the gym, like just out in public. And it's funny. It's funny because you'll see some guy that's like walking around. And he's like very like jacked and he's very serious looking person. And you'll tell him like, "Hey, dude, like you're looking ripped, man. You're looking swole. Like, way to go, man." And you'll see him going from like being a serious person to being like, you know, like a little kid or like a puppy that's like excited, like, "Hey," like just so excited that someone's like told him like, you know, that they're doing better. And it's funny is I'm gonna pull this up real fast. Try and give you this visual. See if I can do this right. So you'll see a guy who's walking around, he'll be like this, like he'll walk past you. He's like all like he's strutting, but he's just he's very like strong. And you'll tell him like, "Hey, like looking good, man." And he'll be like, "Thanks," or something kind of serious. But then you'll watch him walk, and he'll have like a little bit more of a step, like, and even though he's trying to like hide that he's like excited that you said something about him, like trying to play it off, he can't help but have that little like a little bit lighter on his feet. I'll have to play back the tape to see if I can see that, but it cracks me up. They just go from being like just a little lighter, and you can tell that you made them happy. You just have to pay attention. It's almost like when you say something to a dog and their tail starts to wag. It's the same way. It's harder to do sometimes with um, girls that are in shape because you don't want to come off as a creep, but it's still possible to say it. You just have to like really gauge how you say it. But it's fun. But finding ways to compliment people, especially kids. Like I feel like kids can use all of the kind of positive, you know, kind of help that you can give them. I feel like there's so much negativity that goes towards kids, like teenagers and stuff, that if you can just be a little bit more positive to them make a difference. And they're easy, you know. When I talk to kids and teenagers, like I grew up with, you know, respect, like telling people yes sir, no sir, good manners, and when you call a teenager sir or address them that way, you can just see like how it's same thing. Like if you there's like some kid, maybe he looks like he's just kind of very I don't know, down on himself, and he's trying to put up a front like he's tough or he's hard, and he's like walking around and he's just kind of like aggressive or trying to be like obnoxious. What you tell me, how's it going, sir? Like, oh, good. And you'll see them, same thing. They'll like straighten up a little bit. They'll feel better about themselves, and you can see it. Like if you do it right, you can see just an instant change, and they'll be like, you can tell like they feel good. They're like, oh man, some old guy called me sir, and like was nice to me, and it makes a difference. I think it's fun, and I love it when when people are nice to my kids, like if my kids are wearing a cool like shirt, or they're wearing like they like Toy Story, so if they're wearing like a Buzz Lightyear shirt or something, and somebody says something to them, they get so excited. And people don't change. People love like when you compliment them, and not like overdoing it, but just noticing things. I like tattoos, so I love like when I see like cool tattoos, talking to someone about it. And it's funny is they like a lot of different people that have tattoos, like they sometimes they're carrying themselves kind of like the bodybuilder, like really strong and stuff, and like they're counterculture. So then when you compliment their tattoos and you get them talking about it, they get so excited, and that whole like aggressive side like falls off. What's up, Plush? Good morning. It's morning here. It's like middle of the day or afternoon for you. But I encourage you to do that, especially today. Like for us, like in the United States right now, there's a lot of problems. A lot of people are not happy with each other. So finding ways to be nice to people and acknowledge them is a worthy endeavor right now in the States. So, but I got to take off. I've gone really long today. Fortunately, everyone in my house is passed out, so I'm doing okay time wise, but I got to go. Thanks for coming by. Plosh, good to see you. Sorry I'm taking off. It's not you, Plosh. It's not your fault. All right. Thank y'all. Hopefully tomorrow I'm feeling better, and leg days tomorrow. Oh no, no worries, Plosh. You guys take it easy. See ya. Thanks for hanging out. God bless you.